Hello students, today we are going to discuss a topic which is maximum deviation of a striker in the elastic collision, and this topic is required essential for the purpose of a new concept based on which there is a problem in NTA sample paper. Also there is a problem in the famous book IE Rudolph problem number 1.175. The situation is we have a particle of say mass m1 moving with some velocity say u1. You have one more particle which is m2 moving with velocity u2. These two particles undergo elastic collision, which may be head-on collision or which may be oblique collision. That is, the collision may be in one dimension or the collision may be in two dimension. It is very obvious that for collision this velocity u1 is more than u2. Otherwise the two particles will not collide with each other. And this is the situation which we call it just before the collision. Let's say this is the status which is just before the two particles engage themselves in a collision process. Before they engage themselves in a collision, they have velocities u1 and u2, which is as shown in the figure. Now they collide, and it is possible that the collision is head-on or oblique. Both possibilities are there. According to both possibilities, they can have a different velocities, right? First of all, I will discuss it with the head-on collision and then I will move to the oblique collision. Let's say that after collision, these particles are moving with velocities v1, m1 and particle m2 with velocity v2. I assume the collision to be perfectly head-on, and due to which the velocities v1, v2 are in the same directions. That is just after collision. It is also obvious that v2 must be more than v1 because this front particle must separate now, otherwise there will be again a collision process. We all know that we solve such kind of questions by two equations. We all know that these questions are solved by two equations, where the first equation which we follow is the conservation of linear momentum, which is m1 u1 plus m2 u2 is equals to m1 v1 plus m2 v2. We all know this is the equation which we follow and known as conservation of linear momentum. We also follow a second equation which is Newton law of collision, which says the velocity of separation, which is v2 minus v1, is equals to the velocity of approach, that is u1 minus u2 in case of elastic collision. Otherwise we introduce a term coefficient of restitution in this case, but here since we are discussing about the elastic collision, we will not consider any we will not have any term of small e. You can simply write v2 minus v1 equals to u1 minus u2. Now if I find what is the velocity of m1 particle in the frame of center of mass, if I want to find velocity of m1 in frame of center of mass, and I will find it before collision and also after collision. So I will find it before and after in both cases. So before the collision, velocity of m1 is u1, but I want it in the frame of center of mass, and we know that velocity of center of mass should be m1 u1 plus m2 u2 divided by m1 plus m2, right? This the term which is inside the bracket will be the velocity of center of mass, and since you are finding relative velocity, so velocity of m1 which is u1 and minus the velocity of center of mass. And now I will simplify this term. If I simplify this term, I get m2 u1 minus u2 over m1 plus m2 as the velocity of m1 in the frame of center of mass. If I find the velocity of m1 in the frame of center of mass after the collision, then after the collision mass m1 is having a velocity of a v1 now, and now the center of mass will have a velocity of m1 v1 plus m2 v2 over m1 plus m2. Now if you simplify this term, you will get m2, and here you will have v1 minus a v2 divided by m1 plus m2, right? So this is the velocity of mass m1 before collision, and this one is the velocity of mass m1 after collision, and both of these velocities are in the frame of center of mass. From the equation 2, from this second equation, look at the expression where v2 minus v1 is equal to u1 minus u2, right? So this is v1 minus v2, and here you have u1 minus u2. They both are equal in magnitude. The numerical value of v1 minus v2, only difference will be a negative sign, but modulus value, absolute value of this term and the absolute value of second term, which is the modulus value, these two are equal in the numerical values. And if they are equal in the numerical values, you can have a biggest, you can make a conclusion, you can draw a conclusion from here, and you can write down that speed of particles in frame of center of mass, does not change. Yes, velocity will change because the sign will change. If it is positive velocity, then after you will have negative velocity, or if you have negative here, positive, then after the velocity. So yes, velocity will change, which means the direction will change, but the speed of particle in frame of center of mass does not change. And this property is only in case of elastic collision. This is only in case of elastic collision. That speed of any particle when measured in the frame of center of mass just before collision, and speed of the same particle in the frame of center of mass just after collision, they are equal. Notice that these two values are equal in magnitude. So if I take modulus of this portion and if I take modulus of this portion, you will get equal sign, because this is u1 minus u2 and this is v1 minus v2, they are equal from this second equation. So the speed of particle in frame of center of mass does not change. This is my conclusion from head-on elastic collision between the two particles, right? And if collision is oblique, it is not head-on, then also the statement will remain valid. Then also this statement remains valid, right? And the reason, in the oblique collision, we all know the oblique collision is collision in two dimension. You can say it is collision in two dimension also, right? So if I consider here that mass m1 moving in one direction makes a collision with some other mass. Let's see here. Our two masses are now engaged in a collision process. m1 and m2, they are now colliding. This is line of impact. This is the line along which they are colliding, line of impact. We call it line of impact. And if along this line, and this is line of impact, I draw one more line which is defined as common tangent. So this is line of impact and this is a common tangent at the point of contact. If the two masses have velocities, suppose mass m1 have a velocity in this direction as u1, suppose that x, and mass m1 has a velocity in this direction, let's say u1 y in these two directions. And now mass 2 has a velocity u2 x, and let's say it has a velocity in this direction u2 y, and these are just before the collisions, just before the collision. What will happen if they are colliding now? If they engage themselves in collision, they collide with each other, but we assume the collision to be elastic, then what is going to happen is along this line of impact, this is line LOI, which stands for line of impact, and this line which is defined as a tangent line, right? So we know that the velocities which are perpendicular to the line of impact, these velocities, the components along tangent, which is u1y and u2y, we all know that these components are unchanged, they are not affected by the collision. So at the time these two particles will collide, their velocity components parallel to the tangent, the velocity components which are parallel to the tangent, they are unaware of collision. They will remain unchanged after collision. But yes, the components which are along the line of impact, which means u1x and u2x, these components will change because of collision, and they will now become, suppose, v1x, and let's say it becomes v2x. Right. So if for some time you ignore the components which are parallel to the tangent because they are unchanged, these two components are unchanged, they are not affected by collision. Collision has impact or collision has effect on the velocity components which are along line of impact, and the velocity components which are along line of impact, they change similar to the head-on collision. So if you follow these two components, then corresponding to these two components, we can again say that speed of particle in the frame of center of mass does not change. For a time being, if you ignore these y components for a time being, let's forget the y component, and if we pay attention to the x components, then the collision is similar to the head-on collision. So all the characteristics which we derived here for the head-on collision, they must be valid here also. So relative to these two components which are along the x direction and these two components which are on the x direction, you will have same conclusion that the speed of particle in the frame of center of mass does not change, whereas the other component of velocities, they are already unchanged, they are not changing. So you can say that yes, the overall speed of the particles in the frame of center of mass will never change if it is collision by nature elastic collision, if it is by nature elastic collision. So we have to keep this statement in our mind. As long as the collision between two objects is elastic, then you will always, or you can always apply this concept, the speed of particle in the frame of center of mass does not change, right? Now I will discuss the question which is given in the NTA paper, right? I will discuss the question which was given in the sample paper of NTA. What was that question? The question which was given in the sample paper of NTA, which I received from one of my student, right? So question which was in the sample paper of NTA, and also similar question is in IE IRDU. So that question was, we have a particle of 2 kilogram which is moving with 6 meter per second, and we have one more particle which is 4 kilogram moving with 2 meter per second. So this was before the collision, right? This question is from NTA website. Okay, 2 kg 6 meter per second, 4 kg 2 meter per second. And the question was, by what maximum angle the 2 kg particle will be deflected? This was the question. By what maximum angle 2 kg particle will be deflected? So I will write down the question here. Find the maximum angle by which this 2 kg is deflected. You can get the question from the NTA website, the exact language of question, but the question is we have to find the maximum deviation in 2 kg particle. And for this question we will follow this concept, that the speed of particle in frame of center of mass does not change. I will follow the same statement now. So let us first calculate what is the velocity of center of mass. What is the velocity of center of mass here? So we can calculate velocity of center of mass 2 into 6 m1 u1 plus m2 u2 over m1 plus m2. So m1 u1 plus m2 u2, which is 2 into 6 plus this 4 into 2 divided by m1 plus m2, which is 2 plus 4, so which I get 20 by 6 or 10 by 3 meter per second. And during collision we all know that the velocity of center of mass does not change, as there is no external force involved. So since there is no external force there, F external is 0, the center of mass velocity will remain unchanged. So it will be 10 by 3 meter per second even after the collision. It is 10 by 3 before collision, but it will be 10 by 3 after the collision also. No, it will not change. But yes, the individual velocities of 2 kg and 4 kg particle will change. So if V1 is a velocity of my 2 kg particle, if V1 is a velocity of 2 kg particle in ground frame, and V1 oblique C is the velocity of 2 kg particle in COM frame, then from the kinematics of relative velocity, you can say that the velocity of particle 1 is velocity of particle 1 in the frame of center of mass and plus the velocity of center of mass. We can say that, right? And we have to notice one more thing here, that if center of mass has a velocity of 10 by 3 meter per second, I will use this concept now, that the speed of particle in frame of center of mass does not change. Direction will change, but the speed will not change. So this vector, which V1 oblique C, which is the velocity of object number 1 with respect to center of mass, it will not change in the magnitude part. So this vector will have same magnitude. It will have same magnitude as before the collision. And what was that magnitude? So before collision, this 2 kg particle was at a velocity of 6 meter per second and center of mass was at a velocity of 10 by 3. So the relative velocity between these two was 6 minus 10 by 3. 6 minus 10 by 3 meter per second, right? 6 minus 10 by 3 meter per second. You can say that this is the velocity. And it will have same magnitude now. And Vc, which is the velocity of center of mass, right, have same magnitude plus same direction also, because there is no external force which can change the velocity of center of mass. Now the final conclusion point. We know this velocity. These are two vectors. For the second vector, you know what is its magnitude and you also know what is its direction. But for the first vector, we know its magnitude but we are unaware of its direction. We are not aware of the direction along which 2 kg particle will move after the collision. So I have only one information about this vector, which is its magnitude. I have no information about its direction part. But for the second term, I have complete information. I know its magnitude, which is 10 by 3 meter per second. I know its direction because it is on the right side. So now if I follow the triangle law, now listen very carefully because it is the logic part now. You can add the two vectors by triangle law. You can add the two vectors by the triangle law. By the triangle law, if I follow triangle law of vector addition, then I will first draw VC vector, right, whose direction and magnitude both are known, and then I will draw this vector. But the problem is, we do not know what is the value of this vector, what is the direction of this vector. We know it is 6 minus 10 upon 3 in magnitude, but we are unaware, we don't know in which direction this vector is. So since we are unaware of its direction, we can have many possibilities. But if I follow triangle law, then we know that in triangle law, we all know that you always draw the second vector from the tip of first vector. So at the tip of this vector, I will draw this vector whose magnitude is this 6 minus 10 by 3, which is 8 by 3. So you have to draw a vector of magnitude 8 upon 3, but in unknown direction. So I can draw the vector in all possible directions. And if I draw this vector in all possible directions, but in all direction it will have a length of 8 upon 3, then the possible locus of tip of that vector will be a semicircle. Right, in that semicircle, you will have one specific direction. In that semicircle, you will always have one specific direction corresponding to which the resultant of these two vectors will be along tangent to the semicircle. And resultant of these two vectors defines the velocity of particle 1 after the collision. I will repeat my working. I have two vectors and we have to add them. Vector 1, which is VC, is known in magnitude, is known in the direction part, right? Second vector, which is V1C, is known in the magnitude 8 by 3, but unknown in direction. Since it is unknown in direction, I can draw it any possible direction, and if I draw it in all possible directions, then the locus of tip of vectors in all possible directions will be on a semicircle centered at the tip of VC vector and having a radius of 8 by 3. In all possible directions, out of all possible directions, we will have one specific direction corresponding to which the resultant vector will be along tangent of that semicircle. So this is the vector which is V1 oblique C. And notice this V1 vector will be at largest angle with VC now. This is going to be the largest angle, because other than this vector, if you choose any other possible vector of a V1C, then the resultant will obviously be at smaller angle than this theta max. And notice this direction of Vc was also the initial direction of, this was the initial direction of 2 kg particle. Initial motion of 2 kg particle was in this direction, and now that 2 kg particle is moving in this direction. This is the final motion of 2 kg particle. So the maximum deviation of 2 kg particle can be found by this triangle in which V1c and this V1 will be at right angle because of radius and tangent property. Because of radius and tangent property. So if you follow this right angle triangle and apply sine of theta max, then sine of theta max will be V1c magnitude of this vector over magnitude of a Vc vector. V1c is 8 over 3, Vc is 10 over 3, you get 4 by 5, and that means theta max would be equals to 53 degree, which is the correct answer for the question given in NTA sample paper, that maximum deflection will be 53 degree. Right. So I hope that you are clear with this concept, and you will keep this result in your mind for similar questions in future also, and you can try problem number 1.175 from IE Rudolph, which is exactly similar question. So this is the way where we can find the maximum deflection of a striking particle in head-on elastic collision or oblique elastic collision. This last part was very crucial part, difficult to understand, so I recommend you to give or pay attention here and try to convince yourself for this specific method which I have discussed in this video. And still, if you find it difficult, you have my WhatsApp number, you can call to me or you can drop a message to me. Take care, stay home, and all the best for your JEE exam.